Brian Brenberg is with us. He's the King's College Finance and Business Chair. Welcome back, Brian.
Good to be here.
First of all, have I got it right? He wants a system whereby you separate out investment banks, which make their living by trading stuff, and commercial banks, which take in loans, they make loans and they take in deposits.
Yep.
That's what he wants. Would it do any good?
Well,
Is it a
that's
good
the
idea?
old Glass-Steagall. So
Yeah.
if he wants exactly the old Glass-Steagall, that's what you get. He says he wants a 21st century Glass-Steagall. Actually, nobody knows what that means.
Right, but do you approve of the separation? Commercial
It doesn't
versus
do
deposit.
anything to address current issues right now. If you look at the 2008 financial crisis, almost nobody looks at that and says Glass-Steagall would have done anything about that. Do you know who's really interested in Glass-Steagall, though, is Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. They're the ones who want to see that back. But when Elizabeth Warren was asked, why do you want Glass-Steagall back, she didn't say it's because it would do any good relative to our problems in 2008. She said it's symbolic. It's symbolic of the fact that we've moved away from regulation in the financial sector. I don't know if Donald Trump wants to be embracing that position.
Well, if you did embrace that position, and I was an investor, and I put my money into the stock of an investment bank, then I know it's my risk. I'm risking that they trade successfully or not. I'm taking the risk, not the taxpayer.
Yeah.
If you have it as a deposit-taking banks and loan-making banks, commercial banks, and I invest in that, again, it's my risk. It's not the federal government's risk. Isn't there something to be said for that?
Well, yeah, and I think investors right now who are investing in Bank of America or J.P. Morgan, they know what they're getting into. They understand that there are different sides of this business. There's diversified revenue streams, and they're fine with that. But again, we just don't have any evidence to suggest that somehow putting these two activities together was what caused the financial crisis. You've got a lot of other issues there. He mentioned them in his speech, by the way. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I mean, those are issues. Subprime lending, fine. Let's talk about those. He should be talking about Dodd-Frank, though. I don't know why at this point in the election cycle he's not talking about. That's his first step. He wants to repeal Dodd-Frank. Good. Let's talk about what you want to do there. How are you going to reform it so community banks can do business again, right? I mean, if you want African Americans and all Americans to have access to credit, let's talk about what we can do with Dodd-Frank.
I just wish he'd go back to tax cuts and regulatory cuts.
And Obamacare. I mean, he should be talking about that in these speeches. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about here. Glass-Steagall seems kind of like a throwback that really has little to do with our current situation.
It's the first time that Professor Brenberg has not been wildly in favor of a Trump policy. That's extraordinary.
That's not true. That is
that's not true. No, I don't want to give you a bad name. You've got to go back to class.
That's right, I do.
Brian, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.